Here's a video on how to set up Technitium on Podman on openSUSE Tumbleweed. You can do it on Micro OS also, or Leap if you want to. It's just a quick Podman video for Technitium, and I'm not going to go in depth in setting up Technitium. There are plenty of videos out there that do that, but here's what I do. And I'm going to give you a couple gotchas about setting it up first on Podman, and then I'm going to go on to show you how I set it up in my environment. I'm going to first install Technitium on Leap, and this is just going to be through Cockpit. So as you can see, it's, login as administrator. And this is really what you need to do if it's going to be standalone. Don't forget to create your directories. I did that because I did forget to create the directories before I originally installed and had to start over again. So create in your home directory Technitium, and then under Technitium build a config directory. And you can go through and just do the Cockpit install, create your container. You can name it whatever you want, but you should name it. Don't forget to do that etc DNS. And then you're going to do 4 IP addresses. I just do the 0.0.0. You can do your specific IP address if you need to. Of course, you're going to need the 5353. One's TCP, one's UDP for DNS. And then the 53443. I believe that is for connecting multiple servers together. If you're not going to have more than one server, you don't need that line. But you will need to do everything else. Your host path, which is the home directory for me, the Technitium where I created that. You can do your host names. I just called this server DNS1. That's really needed if you're going to do domain names. You should on a multiple use or multiple servers. That works out the best if you give it a name, and that it will run if you don't have the name, but it runs better if you have a name. Then in the future, if you ever move it to a different server, you're connecting via a name, not an IP address. And the 5380 is your DNS server web port. Allow relays, you hit yes. You should be able to start it, and you see it's running there, and it tells you if there's any issues under the logs, it'll start just throwing out errors. And the console looked okay too. So from here, we should be able to get into it, and your default login will be admin, and change your password. And since this is a demo server, I'm not going to save the password, don't need to. But that's your basic install of a single server setup on Leap 16. Now let's do the dual setup. I'm not going to do the full install. I believe there's plenty of guides out there, but this is specifically how to set it up for Podman. My Podman run will be at this codeberg.org, and it's there now, so you can view it and download it so you don't have to type it all out. I've already done that for you. And I'm going to try to put all of my install files on code project now. So hopefully in the future you'll be seeing some more Podman or whatever config files it takes to run one of the projects I'm doing, trying to make it easy for you guys. This is for openSUSE specific Podman. I'm not sure if it's going to be too much different in other flavors of Linux, Red Hat, Fedora, whatever they want to call themselves, or Ubuntu, but it is Podman, trying to get away from Docker as much as possible. And you can see just putting in the Podman run, everything's up and running, and it gives me information to launch. And I am running Firefox now, trying to test it, the web browser out, and see if it's better than Chrome. There's, pluses and minuses of Firefox over Chrome, but I'm trying to get more security specific or centralized, just to go more open source. Everyone has reasons to or not to do things in software that they run. But you can see here, this is up and running for Technitium. Now, for the second server, you have to remember that Podman run command, you have to change the names. Change it from DNS1 to DNS2 in two specific places, host name and, of course, the fully qualified name. I just threw in there some local host.local or something like that. It's going to need to be a fully qualified domain name on your network. So you have to have access to your router to create those names. And that's specific for Technitium. I tried running it as a direct IP before. It worked better with the domain name. So remember to put those in. I run a Ubiquity firewall and router. So go in there and create a name to your IP address to get this up and running. And here is the second one up and running. Once you get them, you have to create references in your main Technitium server that allows your secondary server to join. And that is, you add in DNS2.local, and once that server tries to join, Technitium knows to allow the server, since the IP is already there. It did cause me a little grief when I first set it up, and that's when I found out you have to add that port that's so that Technitium can talk between the servers. Now this is going to make an active setup. Again, I'm not going to go through the full setup. There's plenty of tutorials out there. This tutorial is going to just be set up. You can see I had an error there. What I forgot to do was create the directories for Podman. So I had to go in there and delete Podman, which is why the cockpit tool is so useful. It's easy to delete stuff. So I had to go in here and make the Technitium directory and the config directory. And then here we go. I'm just going to add this Podman run in there again. And again, this is available on the code project, codeberg.org. And I should have the link below here in a second. And one thing I will note, that you need to do sudo so that you don't get port 53 errors when running the Podman. It doesn't let it join. And I don't have this all the time. I did a couple test runs, and it seemed to work without sudo, all except for one. So I'm just saying, if you see an error with port 53, run that Podman as sudo to make it go. I don't know why there was nothing running on 53 before. So these are just brand new VMs that I threw for just this project. So please be warned. And then when I logged in with admin, it's going to ask you to create a new password. And I'm not going to save this because I'll probably just delete these VMs right afterwards. So in a nutshell, you've set up two Technitium servers, named one of them DNS1 and the other one DNS2. That was something that I learned when setting up my Technitium cluster. I'm going to call it cluster. And then the next thing that I had to learn was set up the zones. In the zones, you need to set up a primary server and secondary zone. So the primary is going to be your local domain.local or your fully qualified domain name. You need to do that. That's how your cluster will be set up. Then you just hit add there. And then you'll have to create the second server in your local domain. That is so when you try to join the second server to the domain, it knows about that server reference. So make sure you do that. That's about all I'm going to cover on the Technitium. That's a whole video on itself. If you want me to do that, the rest of the full setup without Podman or whatever, let me know. I can do that. I had not planned to do that for this video. I just wanted to focus on setting up Podman and Technitium. It's pretty easy. It's not hard. You have to remember with Podman, to update it, what you have to do is actually delete the instance. Do not delete your directories, and then run that Podman run command again. So you want to make sure you save it. It's on my Codeberg site. You run it again, and it will set the Technitium up. It's going to be the same username and password that you've created before, and all your information in that. Just remember, if you update, you need to do one server at a time. The reason that I have 2 servers is so I can work on it and do updates, because I got tired of getting in trouble by taking down the network. That was with Pi-hole. Pi-hole was ridiculously hard to set up a cluster. Never really got fully working correctly under Podman. So that's why I use Technitium. It works. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see a more in-depth. I had not planned to do that for this one. So thank you for watching. And I'm going to show you some, I don't know, some stuff on my active cluster, and it's just going to show you the stats. I'm going to say that I've never had such great DNS ad blocking over Pi-hole. Pi-hole was, let's just say, I ran it for 12 years, and I'm so glad I've switched over to Technitium. It's been great for the last 9 months. So have a good one.